Hey, kia ora team, it's Chris here from Bayleys, sitting down with Katherine Wilson from Property Council of New Zealand, having a chat about Budget 2025. So, Katherine, how are you today?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for having me here, and Bayleys for being a member of Property Council.
Yeah, no, cheers, we enjoy it. And so, mate, we were keen to chat about Budget 2025 because at first glance it was a little bit hard to decipher where the opportunities were for property. You guys have been leading the charge around getting an understanding of where the opportunities are. So, mate, what do we need to know about Budget 2025?
Yeah, I think the key thing that came out of Budget 2025 for the property sector is the investment boost announcement.
Yep.
It was definitely something that I think was quite a shock. When it first came out, I think people were running around trying to work out what does this actually mean for my individual sectors.
Yep.
And we originally got examples from ministers and MPs around primary industries or manufacturing companies buying a type of
plant
equipment.
And equipment and that sort of
yeah,
stuff, right?
rather than what it actually means for the property sector.
Yeah, cool. And I guess mini disclaimer up front, right? Like neither of us are tax experts.
No.
So chat to your accountant. And Katherine, it's fair to say that it's like quite early days at the moment around interpretation and application and sort of understanding what the details are.
Yes. Yeah, definitely is early days. We do, at Property Council, we have gone out and asked additional questions, and we have found out some additional information, and we're going to be talking about that today. But yeah, I think it is definitely early days at this stage on what's kind of in or out in terms of some of the niche examples that we can touch on today.
Yeah, cool. And I guess that's to say if you are looking to make a big decision, definitely get your advisors lined up to make sure that they agree with what we might be saying. And investment boost, right? What is it in a nutshell?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, it's all about tax.
Yep.
Effectively, what this means is that an organisation, say a commercial, industrial or retail building, is able to get a tax benefit if they are new or first available from use from the 22nd of May onwards.
Yep.
So naturally that's going to encourage a lot of projects that are currently in that pipeline or ready to be first available for use. It's a 20% tax cut at the end of that tax year. So effectively what that means is if you have developed a $100 million building, you can claim back 20 million by the end of that year.
Yeah, which is big money, right?
Yeah.
Like when you look at it. Like when I was reading it, it looked like it was focused into owner-occupiers. So it might be someone developing a building for their own business to use or purchasing a building that, again, is for their own use.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I think one thing that we do need clarity around is that first available for use definition, because does that mean when the building gets code of compliance? Does it mean when the tenant has signed it, practical completion, or when they cut the ribbon and it's opening day?
Yeah.
So those are the kind of questions that we're hoping to seek clarification on.
Yeah, cool. And it would apply to the built form element of it,
not
isn't
the
it?
land, yes. So it's only the built form and does not apply to land.
Yeah,
yes,
cool.
That's correct.
And I guess, so that sounds pretty exciting, right? Like if you're looking at that type of purchase or to kick off a new building, that's actually really, really exciting.
Yeah.
There's obviously some property types that are what we would in the industry refer to as probably more on the commercial side that aren't in scope at the moment though.
Yes.
Like one of them that sort of appeared to be the case was build to rent.
Yeah, definitely. So at this stage, what we have been able to determine is that there are some exemptions. So we know that commercial, industrial and retail buildings are eligible for investment boost, but residential is not eligible, with the exemption of hotels, motels, hospitals, retirement villages and student accommodation. And so it seems a bit odd that build to rent isn't allowed to be excluded to be eligible for investment boost, given that it's a big, significant new asset class in New Zealand. And if we want to try and encourage overseas investment in this asset class and within this space, I think something like investment boost would really get this sector and that asset class humming.
Well, it'll definitely start to flush up the feasibilities, right? Particularly if you're comparing build to sell with build to rent, which has always been been one of the challenges, and that's quite an important note in there around it not applying to residential,
Yes.
other than those slightly more commercial elements
Yes.
to residential, right? So overall sounds really exciting. What are some of the questions that we still need to find out about it?
Yeah, so I mentioned the first available use. That's definitely a question. And then there are more questions around around the capital works.
Yep.
So any new capital works is eligible for investment boost if it is a commercial, industrial or retail property.
Okay.
And so what that looks like is that things like seismic strengthening, we think will be eligible for investment boost. The IRD form itself talks about significant strengthening.
Yeah, it's maybe a little bit vague, right?
Could be a bit vague, what's
Yeah.
significant, what's not. Another thing that we are looking into is obviously that first availability of use.
Yeah.
And then things like if a building is looking to retrofit, how much of that retrofit is eligible for investment boost? Is it windows? Is it refurbishment? When we're looking at our ESG lens and looking at our sustainability, is switching off our
Like gas
our gas
generator,
and moving to electrifications,
Yeah.
is that going to be eligible as well? So these are kind of questions that we're putting towards the Minister for Revenue, and hopefully we'll get a response for our members.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, right? Like particularly things
Yeah.
like seismic and
Yes.
some of those sustainability upgrades, if they go into scope, that's going to be really cool.
Mm.
And so in terms of timeframes, there's a May date, which obviously applies
Yep.
for around the first available.
Yep.
When do you reckon we would get more details around like all the specifics in the policy? Or is that just something that we would see sort of interpreted over time? Or?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it will be interpreted over time,
Yep.
But there are some things that we definitely need to get answers to, particularly around retrofitting, just to create certainty for the market.
100%.
So that's what we're trying to do is get those necessary questions answered around first available of use and around what kind of assets or in terms of a refurbishment
Yep.
in and out. And then we can communicate that to our members, because that will make a lot of decisions around feasibility of refurbishments for our members and the wider sector.
Yeah, no, it does make sense, right? Like if you're dealing with any investment, de-risking it, so just those
Yeah.
interpretations and making sure that everyone's confident around how it's going to work. So if we wanted to find out more over time, like
Yeah.
what do we need to do to like monitor what's going on?
Yeah, I think definitely contact Property Council.
Yeah, give a shout out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out to us. We'll be trying to find some of those answers, but then again, just talk to your tax experts too, because they'll be the ones that are in that nitty-gritty, detailed perspective over the entire scheme.
Yeah, cool. Like that makes heaps of sense. Yeah, jump on the Property Council website, subscriptions, membership, that sort of stuff. If you're thinking about maybe new buildings or investment, have a chat to Bayleys. Like we'd love to have a chat to you, whether it's our valuation team, including plant and machinery, agents to help source that new property, building consultancy for the technical side of things, or just that full range of services. So feel welcome to connect to the local Bayleys team as well.
Yeah.
And look, with that said, Katherine, thanks so much for chatting today. It's been really cool just to get a bit of clarity on that. So thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, sweet. And we'll see you next time. See ya.
Bye.